Hello, I'm Matthew McKibbin. Welcome to Bedtime Stories. Thank you for liking my previous bedtime story video. So today I'm back with another bedtime story, and our today's story is Did I Ever Tell You How Lucky You Are by Dr. Seuss. When I was quite young and quite small for my size, I met an old man in the desert of Dries, and he sang me a song I will never forget. At least, well, I haven't forgotten it yet. He sat in a terribly prickly place, but he sang with a sunny, sweet smile on his face. When you think things are bad, when you feel sour and blue, when you start to get mad, you should do what I do. Just tell yourself, ducky, you're really quite lucky. Some people are much more, oh, ever so much more, oh, muchly, much, much more unlikely than you. Be glad you don't work on the Buckybug Bridge that they're building across Boober Bay at Bum Ridge. It's a troublesome world. All the people who are in it are troubled with troubles almost every minute. You ought to be thankful, a whole heaping lot, for the places and people you're lucky you're not. Just suppose, for example, you lived in Gazette and got caught in that traffic on Zate Highway 8. Or suppose, just for instance, you lived in Gazaire with your bedroom up here and your bathroom up there. Suppose, just suppose, you were poor Herbie Hart, who has taken his Thrum Defibrillator apart. He never will get it together, I'm sure. He never will know if the gig or the gore fits into the scrots or the snucks or the schnur. Yes, ducky, you're lucky you're not. Herbie Hart, who has taken his Thrumbulator apart. Think they work you too hard? Think of poor Alizard. He has to mow grass in his uncle's backyard, and it's quick growing grass, and it grows as he mows it. The faster he mows it, the faster he grows it. And all that his stingy old uncle will pay for his shoving that mower around in that hay is the piteous pay of 2 ducats a day. And Ollie can't live on such pitiless pay. So, he has to paint flagpoles on Sundays in grooves. How lucky you are you don't live in his shoes. And poor Mr. Bix, every morning at 6, poor Mr. Bix has his Bornfit to fix. It doesn't seem fair. It just doesn't seem right. But his Bornfit just seems to go schlop every night. It slops in a heap sadly needing repair. Fixes it's due to the local night air. It takes him all day to unschlub it. And then the night air comes back, and it schlubs once again. So you don't feel blue. Don't get down in the dumps. You're lucky you don't have a boyfriend that schlups. And while we are at it, consider the schlots, the crumplehorn, wet-footed, green-bearded schlots whose tail is entailed with unshovable knots. If he isn't muchly more worse off than you, I'll eat my umbrella. That's just what I'll do. And you're lucky indeed you don't ride on a camel. To ride on a camel, you sit on a whamel. A whamel, you know, is a sort of a saddle, held on by a button that's known as a faddle. And boy, if your old whamel faddle gets loose, I'm telling you, ducky, you're gone like a goose. And poor Mr. Potter, T-crosser, I-dotter, he has to cross T's and he has to dot I's in an INT factory out in Van Nuys. Oh, the jobs people work at, out west near Hotch, there's a Hotcher bee watcher. His job is to watch, is to keep both eyes on the lazy town bee. A bee that is watched will work harder, you see. Well, he watched and he watched, but in spite of his watch, that bee didn't work any harder. Not much. So then somebody said, our old bee watching man just isn't bee watching as hard as he can. He ought to be watched by another Hotcher. The thing that we need is a bee watcher. Well, the bee watcher watched the bee watcher. He didn't watch well, so another Hotcher had to come in as a watcher. And today all the Hotchers who lived in Hotch are watching on watching the watcher who's watching that bee. You're not a Hotch watcher. You're lucky, you see. And how fortunate you're not Professor DeBreeze, who has spent the past 32 years, if you please, trying to teach Irish ducks how to read Japanese. And think of the poor puffing flugelhorn players who have to parade down the flugelhorn stairs every morning to wake up the Prince of Puhbucken. It's awful how often their pugels get broken. And oh, just suppose you were poor Harry Hogdow. Trying as he will, he can't make any shadow. He thinks that perhaps something's wrong with his giz. And I think that, by golly, there probably is. And the brothers of Bazoo, the poor brothers Bazoo, suppose your hair grew like theirs happened to do. You think you're unlucky? I'm telling you, Ducky, some people are muchly, oh, ever so muchly more unlucky than you. And suppose that you lived in that forest in France, where the average young person just hasn't a chance to escape from the perilous pants-eating plants. But your pants are safe. You're a fortunate guy. And you ought to be shouting, "How lucky I am! How lucky am I?" And speaking of plants, you should be greatly gladish. You're not Farmer Falkenberg's 17th radish. And you're so lucky you're not Gucky Gown, who lives by himself 90 miles out of town in the ruins of Rock. Rock is rather run down. And you're so lucky you're not a left sock left behind by mistake in the caverns of Croc. Thank goodness for all of the things you are not. Thank goodness you're not something someone forgot and left all alone in some puckerish place like a rusty tin coat hanger hanging in space. That's why I say, Ducky, don't grumble, don't stew. Some crickers are much, oh, ever so much more unlucky than you. Well, what'd you think of that? It seems like that little boy learned a lot of things that he should be proud of somehow, I suppose. You know, if I should explain tips about it in real life, so I would probably say, in my opinion, and I'm not sure if it's really a fact, that we should all be grateful for who we are, and we should all be proud of ourselves that our spiritual leader, God and Jesus Christ, had brought us to this earth to experience human emotions and other things that there is in the living world, better known as Earth. I'm actually proud of who I am and find things that I enjoy doing in the living world. Like for a few examples, I enjoy musical theater during my free time. I'm actually proud of myself for finding a career that I'm so comfortable and trying to like a lot, which is going okay for me. And yeah, we should all find things that we love doing in the living world, if I should say so myself. Thank you for tuning in for today's bedtime story. And remember what Shelley Duvall once said to all of us. When you write stories, you can make believe anything. And when you dream, you can make believe anything too. So, hope you all have a good night and hope to see you next time.